On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, are you a futurist or basic services kind of voter? Those seem to be the defining characteristics of the races for Cincinnati City Mayor and City Council. Some candidates say focus on doing the right things right, while others say focus on bold ideas to move Cincinnati forward. So the question is, who's really going to run this place? 2 years ago, Cincinnati elected 7 Democrats to council, and they pushed big projects forward. 6 backed the streetcar, and 5 supported the parking lease plan. The 2013 council race will determine how the controversial streetcar and parking lease projects run their course, and whether Cincinnati City Council embraces other big and risky ideas. The mayoral race has gotten much of the attention, including a live debate last week, sponsored by Local 12.
We have a budget crisis. People aren't going to want to come to this city to invest jobs and grow businesses if they think that our credit's been downgraded. The streetcar adds $4 million minimum on forever when we can't have enough money right now to put enough cops and firefighters on the street. We just can't afford it.
And we talk about attracting young people who will work in some of our leading companies.
We have about a minute and a half left.
They want a certain lifestyle that is not dependent upon an automobile. And so the streetcar is part and parcel of making downtown, over the Rhine, the communities of Uptown, Clifton, Mount Auburn, Avondale, Corryville, actually competitive.
In addition to the mayor's race, the Cincinnati City Council race will play as much, if not a bigger role, in deciding whether Cincinnati is simply a cute city that competently fills potholes or tries to set a course to become a Midwestern economic powerhouse. Local historian and the host of Local 12 Newsmakers, Dan Hurley, moderated that debate and joins Business Courier editor Rob Dawmeyer in the studio with more analysis on our centerpiece story. Dan and Rob.
Thank you, and thanks, Dan, for being here. You moderated the debate, which was between the mayoral candidates, but our centerpiece story this week kind of focuses on that, but also on the council race, and the idea being that this is a very, very key race because this city at this point can go one of two directions. Do you share that idea, and what do you think about this race, not just the mayoral race, but the council race as well, and how important it is or what it's going to mean?
Well, on one level, you can say that about every election, that there's a lot of momentum that has been created over the last decade or so, especially if you look at the downtown. Important things have been turned around and over the Rhine, the work that 3CDC has done on the banks. So it's not like we're in this point that it's either choose this or choose that. There's a certain momentum here that's bigger than council, bigger than the mayor, and bigger than City Hall. And the community is behind a certain momentum. So, and the other thing too is I think you have to be careful. The people who, may be for more progressive or whatever, they're also for basic services as well. So it's not an either-or sort of thing. It's much more complicated than that.
Now, as somebody who clearly had to watch and listen to every word during that debate very, very carefully, and the entire campaign, what do you think about the way each candidate is portraying themselves and maybe how that's coming off to the electorate?
Well, I think there's a really interesting dynamic that emerged for me in the midst of that debate. Was I realized that every question that was asked, Roxanne Qualls, she's an incumbent, vice mayor, her answer always was, here's what we're already doing and we have to continue to grow that. John Cranley, who's not an incumbent, has been out for a few years, his answer is, they're doing the wrong things, and so it sounds more aggressive, it sounds more active, and I think there's a dynamic that's set up. Now, it doesn't mean that one's right and one's wrong. It just means that from an optics point of view, there's a difference, and sometimes that plays in. What that means to the electorate out there, do people, rank and file voters, think that this city is got to be turned around somehow? If that's the case, John Cranley really has a lot of support. If they believe it's going in the right direction and are proud of what's been accomplished in the last decade, then it tilts to Roxanne.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to watch this one. Should be close, I think, either way. But Dan, thanks for being here.